Hey guys, this is Hunter with You Know No Ball, and today we're going to be looking at the Athletics Mock Draft 1.0. This was done by the staff, so if there's a beat reporter that's covering the Bears, he's picking for the Bears. If there's a beat reporter that's covering the Falcons, he's picking for the Falcons. So there are some trades, and they were able to act as GMs of their team. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. We are growing this channel like crazy, bringing you guys daily content. We really appreciate all the support. With that being said, let's get right into it. Number 1, we have Adam Johns picking from the Bears, and it is Caleb Williams. Not much of a surprise here. If you are a Bears fan, I would recommend you listen to Hogue and Johns. This is probably one of the best Bears podcasts that you can get. They're both really, in my opinion, level-headed. They all have their, every reporter has a bias. They're human. And I'm not saying basically what I'm saying is, they keep their bias out of it as much as they can. And I think as time has come around, both of them have come to the idea that Caleb Williams is most likely going to be a Bear. And this is mostly what we see in these mock drafts, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. If you are a Bears fan, go watch the press conference with Shane Waldron and their new DC, Eric Washington. Flu spoke for a little bit. It is on the Bears YouTube. I watched that earlier today, and it doesn't really tell you much, but, you can pick and choose what you think means what. At number 2, we have the Washington Commanders taking Drake May. I think this is the most likely scenario. The talks of them taking Jaden Daniels, I think might ramp up around the combine or even leading up to the draft, but at the end of the day, everyone's going to come down to earth, and it's going to be Drake May number 2. I'm almost positive, unless a team really wants to trade up and they feel like Jaden Daniels is their guy. I don't see Washington trading out. I don't see them taking Jaden Daniels. I think Drake May is the pick here at 2. Going at number 3, so we have a trade. We have the Atlanta Falcons trading for the 3rd overall pick with the New England Patriots, and it is for Jaden Daniels. So the Falcons send number 8, number 43, and a 2025 first-round pick to the Patriots for number 3. All that to move up 5 spots for a 5th-year senior. I understand that the Falcons need a quarterback. I don't know if this is the right one that they want. I'm not a huge fan of Jaden Daniels. I think what he did at LSU this year was awesome, and I think it was great. But, for a guy who's 23 years old and didn't break out until he had, 2 first-round receivers, a pretty good O-line, it just doesn't strike me as the move of a guy that's going to lead your franchise to, deep in the playoffs. And, I will say, with Zach Robinson there as the OC, and they have good weapons on offense, it's definitely possible that Atlanta, could be a good team this year. I think they should have been a good team last year. So maybe with all the coaching changes, the new quarterback, I'm proven wrong. I am just a guy in my room making videos. Who knows? This is my first year really evaluating college athletes. But I just don't think Jaden Daniels is the guy, at least for the Falcons. At number 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, if the draft goes quarterback, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the 4th pick. There is also a very real possibility that, a team trades up to 3. If, we saw in this scenario, the Patriots didn't want to take a quarterback, which I think is probably what's going to happen. That's just my vibe. In my opinion, you don't throw a quarterback into that talent-barren offense right now and, expect them to swim. So I think trading out would be good. And so if he doesn't go 3, he's going to go 4 to the Cardinals. I think there's really no reason why the Cardinals shouldn't be taking Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's available to them at 4. Number 5, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Malik Neighbors. Now, I like this pick because I think Malik Neighbors would give them a lot of versatility because, you have Quentin Johnson, who was the first round pick last year, didn't really work out how you wanted to. Mike Williams is probably going to be a cap casualty. Keenan Allen, you don't know how much left he's got in the tank. But while I like the Malik Neighbors pick, the more and more I'm thinking about it, I really think they're going to go Joe Alt here and pair him with Rashawn Slater, just with the way Harbaugh ran, in college and how they wanted their tackles, how they looked and everything like that. So I don't think it's a bad pick necessarily. I just think at the end of the day, it's going to end up being a tackle. At number 6, we have the New York Giants taking Rome Odunze. I think this is a very likely scenario that if one of these receivers is here for Washington to take, they will take them. Unfortunate for Bears fans like me who wanted one of these guys to fall to 9, but I think you get a big weapon for Daniel Jones and then who's ever going to be the quarterback after this year. And you could put him, he said you could put him next to Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. While I don't think that receiving room is all that good, I think you're at least putting like some hopeful youth in there. Like I think Jalen Hyatt, he is not going to be like a number 1 receiver, but I think he could be a solid guy in your wide receiver room, and giving them Rome Odunze like a big body could do a lot for that team. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans taking Joe Alt. I think this pick makes a lot of sense. You get arguably OT1 in the draft. You put him next to Peter Skoronski. If he's there at 7, I know the guy. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm forgetting your name. The guy with the Tennessee profile picture. I know you're going to love this one, bro. You've been preaching in the comments that you want Joe Alt, so very happy for you here in this mock draft. Hopefully that happens in April. But yeah, so this would make a lot of sense for them. I think they're going to go tackle. They got to build up the trenches on both sides of the ball. And in my opinion, if you want to keep Will Levis upright and allow him to develop by throwing to Treylon Burks, DeAndre Hopkins, maybe you get a wide receiver in the second round, you need to keep him up and not running for his life. Great pick for the Titans here. At number 8, this is a trade from Atlanta who moved to 3, but there's another trade. So Patriots send number 68 to the Bears for Justin Fields. I really don't know what the value for Fields is going to be. There's been talk about late firsts, and I just don't see that happening. I'm thinking maybe a second and possibly a third. I could also just see him going for like a third and a fourth. I think there's just a wide range of things that he could go for, and I'm very interested to see probably around Combine Week before free agency, or after Combine Week and before free agency. I think that's kind of where he gets dealt. But anyway, they pick Olu Fashanu. I think this is another great tackle pick here. He is one of the best pass protectors in the class, and New England, who has to protect Justin Fields. I mean, Fields has dealt with a bad O-line for his time in Chicago. I will say it was not nearly as bad last year, and a lot of the issue is Fields has a really deep drop, and it's really hard for tackles to set the edge when your quarterback has a very slow, deep drop. The interior of the line was doing him no favors, though. I mean, Tevin Jenkins played well, but the center and right guard position with Nate Davis was really tough on him. So I don't blame it all on Fields. And in this pick, you basically are saying, okay, we need to protect our quarterback. And whether it's Fields or whoever after this year, I think is the right choice for the Patriots. Build through the trenches. At number 9, we have a trade, which I think if Odunze, Neighbors, and MHJ are off the board, maybe you go Bowers. But I think if those guys are off the board, the likelihood of the Bears trading back with one of those quarterback needy teams is very, very possible, because it's like, let's recoup some, trade assets, or let's draft assets, because we're not going to get the guys we wanted. They're not available to us. You might as well, recoup some picks, and you've already recouped a lot of picks between this pick and the Justin Fields trades. So we got the Denver Broncos taking J.J. McCarthy. So a lot of people won't like this. The reality is J.J. McCarthy is probably going to go top 15 in the NFL draft. There is a quarterback tax where quarterbacks typically go to a half to a full round before they're supposed to go, just because teams are desperate for quarterbacks. And if there's anybody I trust to fix or develop J.J. McCarthy, it is going to be Sean Payton. If Sean Payton drafts J.J. McCarthy, you have to think, okay, they might see something very special in him, and I think a lot of teams do see something special in J.J. McCarthy. And if Sean Payton's the one doing it, that's kind of crazy. So let's just go over this trade compensation, then we'll move on to the next pick. The Broncos send pick number 12, okay, pick swap, number 76, and a 2025 fourth rounder for the Bears for number 9. I think that's pretty fair trade value, honestly. So I can't complain about that. At number 10, we have the New York Jets taking Talisa Fuaga. This is the most likely scenario to me. If Olu and Alt are gone. You get a dominant run blocker. You get a good pass blocker. I think, like I said and have said all my mock drafts, if you're the Jets, it needs to be an offensive line pick. You can go interior. I don't think you go interior this high, but going tackle is your number one need. You cannot have a old-ass Aaron Rodgers running for his life. At number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Dallas Turner. They're going to go edge, in my opinion. I think if the quarterbacks that they want are off the board, they're going to go edge. They also could go corner, but I think D-line is more important. Danielle Hunter is probably leaving. Marcus Davenport might be leaving. And they haven't drafted an edge in the first round, I think, since like 2005. I could be wrong, but if you want to go look that up, I heard that from one of the podcasts I listened to. I think it was NFL Stock Exchange. But Dallas Turner is an athletic edge. I really like how he moves, and I think it would be a good fit for Brian Flores. Very, very athletic. At number 12, we have the Chicago Bears taking Jared Verse. So this is the thing with the edges in this class is the Bears need an edge to pair with Montez Sweat. And Verse is a very powerful rusher. But I don't want to take away the fact that he's also very fast. So my thing is, if you put him opposite of Montez Sweat, you're working with a scary duo, and your D-line just keeps getting better. I don't know if you guys know, the D-line coach that the Bears hired is pretty good. I mean, he was in Buffalo, so I think he'll be able to really maximize, Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, guys we had last year, Andrew Billings, Montez Sweat. I think with this pick and someone you maybe get in free agency, that the Bears D-line is starting to look really, really scary. So I do like this pick, and like I said, with the edges, it's kind of like whatever flavor you want. You want a very athletic guy? Do you want a finesse guy? Do you want a power rusher? I mean, Latu, Turner, and Verse give you all of that. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Byron Murphy. So I like the pick of interior D-line because, you have Max Crosby on the other end. And I don't know, kind of as I evaluate these interior D linemen more, we're going to have our top 15 boards, me and Dobbs, coming out next week. But just to lead up to the combine. But what I will say is I have Jerzon Newton ahead of Byron Murphy. I think, Newton is a little bit more polished. Yes, he is undersized, but I think Byron Murphy will be really good. I think he'll be a good player, but I wouldn't put him ahead of Jerzon Newton just yet. Maybe we see some stuff at the combine, but the Las Vegas Raiders, positionally, this is the right pick. And Byron Murphy he's not a scrub. Byron Murphy's a real deal. So I just would prefer Jerzon Newton, but Byron Murphy is a great pick here. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints taking J.C. Latham. Love this pick. I think with the issues with Trevor Penning and Ryan Ramczyk, it's just like you got to get a guy in there that's kind of reliable. Latham is a huge offensive tackle who is really good in pass protection. He's very patient. He's good in run blocking as well, but I think, obviously his strength is pass blocking. And the Saints just need to shore up that line. If you're committing to Derek Carr, not to say Derek Carr's a statue, but he's not churning out like 50 yards a game on the ground. So, great pick for the Saints here. I think even if they went like edge, Latu, or Jerzon Newton, anything to kind of build up those trenches. At 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking Brock Bowers. Okay, so if the Colts don't go corner here and Bowers is available at 15, I think you get tremendous value taking him here, pairing him up with Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs. You have Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss. Then you have Brock Bowers. Like, that offense and Anthony Richardson would be so, so good, especially with Shane Steichen. If the Colts take Brock Bowers, I would be very, very interested to see how the AFC South turns out next year. And I know, it's not going to depend on one player. But with the way the Colts played last year, I think the AFC South is going to be such a fun division. I think the Titans will probably be the bottom dwellers because you have the Jags and you have the Texans. But it is going to be a fun division for a long time. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking Troy Fontanu. I think this pick makes a lot of sense for them. So Troy can play tackle, but he can also play on the interior. And the reality is they have two young tackles who were pretty good. maybe took a little bit of a step back last year from what they played in the rookie year, but overall still not something that you are really concerned about. The issue is really the interior of the line. So when you get a guy who can swing out to either tackle spot, but then also start for you and play the interior, it's just such a great value pick for the Seattle Seahawks and is the right one to make. At number 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Terrion Arnold. Love this pick. The Jaguars have a lot of spots that they need to fill. Terrion Arnold is arguably CB1 in this draft. They haven't really had a dominant cornerback one since they had Jalen Ramsey, and I think Terrion Arnold can be that guy for them. He is a young, athletic guy who is extremely moldable because he is so young, and he grew so much through this year when he was at Alabama that it is a very exciting pick for the Jaguars. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Amarius Mims. I like this pick a lot, and here's why. You have Orlando Brown Jr. on the left side. You put Amarius Mims on the right side if you don't want to sit him for a while. Amarius Mims is very inexperienced. He only had like 800 snaps total at his time at Georgia. He was injured this year, so lack of, tape, but he's a very promising tackle prospect that has a very high ceiling, and if you hit on him, you are protecting Joe Burrow for a long time, and Joe Burrow gets the ball out. Like, you don't got to worry about protecting Joe Burrow forever. So at the end of the day, he may be someone who's able to develop as the season goes on. I like this pick a lot for the Bengals. At number 19, we have the Rams taking Jackson Powers-Johnson. They just cut their center. Let me see if they put anything in here about that. Yeah, so they actually just released their center or cut their center. And Jackson Powers-Johnson is probably the best interior O-lineman in the class. He can play center. He can play guard. Really, he can do whatever you want on the interior. And the fact that you just cut your center and you're drafting the best guy in the draft for interior O-line is a great pickup because this is the range he's probably going to go. I'm assuming he's going to be a first rounder, late first round. And, you put him next to Steve Avila. Like, the Rams are really building for the future while also getting players that can compete now, like Jackson Powers-Johnson, where they can go try and win a Super Bowl these next 2 years with Matt Stafford. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Tyler Guyton. I like the idea of taking a tackle here to pair him up with Broderick Jones, but I don't love Tyler Guyton. I think Tyler Guyton is a good player, and the reason I don't love him is because I don't think he's ready to play. I think you got to give him some time to develop, and that's, you know what, I will say, though, that is what they did with Broderick Jones. They didn't play him right away, so I think that might be kind of the move here, because you have, Guyton, Daniels, Sayamalu, Broderick Jones. You kind of got to fix that center position, and you want to fix that other tackle spot. So Guyton might be the guy. He's huge. He's 6'7", and he's very competitive. But I just don't know if you want to roll that offensive line out where Guyton's not playing right away, or that tackle isn't playing right away. I think he's a good player, but at the end of the day, I don't know if it's the right player, right position, right player for this spot. At number 21, we have the Buffalo Bills trading up with the Miami Dolphins for Brian Thomas Jr. Oh, I have never seen this, and I really do like it. So the Bills send number 28, number 99, and 192 to the Dolphins for 21. That is quite the haul to move up 7 spots, but you get a big body receiver, something that Josh Allen has not had his whole career, to pair up with Stephon Diggs. And I think this is a fantastic pick. Gabe Davis is probably going to walk in free agency. This would be a big needle mover for the Bills this year. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Quinyon Mitchell, so our second cornerback off the board. This makes a lot of sense to me. He is arguably probably the best corner in the draft. What he did at Toledo and what he showed at the Senior Bowl was so impressive, and the Eagles desperately need first round talent in that cornerback room as, Slay and Bradbury are getting older. So great pick by the Eagles here. Usually he doesn't even fall to them. At number 23, we have the Houston Texans taking Cooper DeJean. I think what Cooper DeJean can do for the Texans would be very, very cool. He is a great run stopper. Some people project him to safety. He can play corner as well. Super athletic guy. Would be very cool to see what D'Amico Ryans can do with him. Not a bad pick here. I think you could also, with Jerzon Newton available, go here. Sarah, you could go here with Jerzon Newton. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking Graham Barton. This makes a lot of sense to me because Graham Barton played tackle, but they're having him projected as a center, and that's the thing is he's kind of projected to play that interior. And the Cowboys O-line is kind of in a weird spot right now. Biadiz is a free agent. They have Tyler Smith, and then they have Tyron Smith, who's also getting older and is a free agent. So Graham Barton could really play any position on the line. So I think this would be a great pick. I think they're going to go offensive trenches here for their pick and makes sense for the Dallas Cowboys. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Nate Wiggins. Such a Packers pick. I think they're going to go cornerback here or safety. Nate Wiggins is a longer corner. I think he makes a lot of sense for them. And with, Eric Stokes kind of being your CB2, you need a safety as well. Any corner here makes a lot of sense for them. At number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Chop Robinson. So Chop Robinson has an extremely quick step. He's very fast, and I think he will be a problem once he develops in the league. And if you put him with, Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, I know there's some more interior guys, but you got Shaq Barrett. If you give him time to develop in a Todd Bowles defense and let him just go, Chop Robinson could be a very, very good pick for the Bucs, who have always kind of had a really good, defensive line these last couple of years. And if you're really keep drafting that youth and keep building on that, they will be able to have sustained success there. At number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking T'Vondre Sweat. So Jerzon Newton has fallen in this one. T'Vondre Sweat is massive. Like, if you think you've seen big football players, go look at T'Vondre Sweat. He is huge, and I think he would be a good pick for the Cardinals. I'm interested to see if we don't see Newton go in the first, if they give any explanation, because I'm just very high on him. But the Cardinals really need help anywhere, offensive line, defensive line. The team is really barren for talent, and I think, they got Paris Johnson Jr. and everything like that. But if you get a guy who can really control the line of scrimmage because he's so powerful, I think T'Vondre Sweat could be a very, very good pick for the Arizona Cardinals and could really transform that D-line. At number 28, we have the Miami Dolphins taking Laiatu Latu. You move back 7 spots, you get more picks, you still get a first-round edge. They have Jalen Phillips, they have Bradley Chubb, but you saw when the injuries hit, they're going to lose Van Ginkel too. You need to resupply that edge room. Good pick for the Miami Dolphins. At number 29, we have the Detroit Lions taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. I like Kool-Aid here. The Lions, I think, really need a cornerback, and they just have to take the best one on the board. I don't know if there's much explanation beyond that. At 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking Jordan Morgan. So, the Ravens are really a best player available approach, and let's see what it has to say. The Ravens starting guards, Kevin Zeitler and John Simpson, are pending free agents, and their starting tackles are older and coming off injury-plagued seasons, Ronnie Stanley and Morgan Moses. So I think you really need to start building that O-line back up with some youth. You could also go D-line here, but I think as time goes on, Lamar, he's always going to be on the move, but you want him to feel safe in that pocket so he doesn't have to use his legs. And Jordan Morgan here held his own at Arizona and is a good pick for the Baltimore Ravens. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking Darius Robinson. So he is a guy that can play on the outside. He is a guy that can play on the inside. And with, Chase Young, Clelin Ferrell, and Randy Gregory heading to free agency, you need someone opposite of Nick Bosa. And at the end of the day, you can move this guy around the line wherever you want. He's been flying up draft boards. I'm very interested to see what he does at the combine. Good pick for the 49ers. At number 32, we have Adonai Mitchell to the Kansas City Chiefs. He is a big body receiver. Put him opposite of Rashee Rice. You got Travis Kelce. And, here's the thing. If you go get a really good receiver in free agency, that wide receiver room, if AD Mitchell hits, is completely revitalized, in my opinion. You hit on Rashee Rice. You got Travis Kelce probably about a year or two, maybe even more. The Chiefs could be competing for a back-to-back-to-back next year. So that is all for the first round. I will go through these last teams too. We usually don't do this, but teams without first round picks. So we have the Carolina Panthers taking Ladd McConkey. He is a very, very quick, explosive receiver. He has great hands. He played at Georgia. I think this is a really good pick for him. I could also see him going in the late first round to the Chiefs. And then we have the Cleveland Browns taking Malachi Corley. I have not done a ton of research on him. I've seen some comps that he is kind of like, oh, they have it here actually, compared to Demo Samuel. So I do like Malachi Corley here. I think the Browns really do need to improve that wide receiver room. So I think in the second round is kind of where they're going to need to go get one. Well, this has been the Athletics staff mock draft 1.0. I liked it. I think it's really cool to see the perspective of people that actually cover the teams and not just like a guy who is picking for all these teams and what he thinks their needs are. I mean, obviously, like everyone knows what these teams' needs are, but at the end of the day, it's cool to see them, kind of do like a mock GM type draft, and with 32 people, it's really fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments your favorite pick, your least favorite pick from this mock draft. We're bringing you guys content every single day, growing the channel like crazy. So thank you guys so much for watching. We couldn't do it without you.